Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Hoops Talk Central, where we dive deep into all things WNBA. Today, we've got a spicy topic on our hands. But before we dive in, I need y'all to do me a quick favor. If you're enjoying these videos and want to see more WNBA content, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the month, and every bit of support helps. Let's make it happen, y'all. We're talking about the Indiana Fever and the possibility that Kelsey Mitchell might not be returning next season. I know. It's wild to even think about. Kelsey has been a cornerstone of the Fever, but there's a lot in play here. So let's get into it. First off, let's break down why this conversation is even happening. One of the biggest reasons people are speculating about Kelsey's future is the fact that she has surprisingly still not been called by the Fever. For a player of her caliber, it's unusual and raises a lot of questions. Is Indiana holding back because they're exploring other roster options? Or is there more going on behind the scenes? This uncertainty has only added fuel to the fire. Kelsey Mitchell is coming off her contract and heading into unrestricted free agency. That means she's got the power to sign with any team she wants. No restrictions, no strings attached. And when you hear some of the things she's hinted at, like wanting to be in a position where she can be a little more selfish in her career growth, it really makes you wonder if Indiana is the best fit for her moving forward. Now, I'm not saying Kelsey doesn't love the Fever. She's been loyal and has balled out for this team, pouring her heart into every game and representing the franchise with pride. But when you're an elite scorer like her and the team's been struggling year after year to get over the hump, you've got to start thinking about what's best for your career. Kelsey is at the peak of her powers right now, and the clock is ticking. Is staying in Indiana going to give her the platform she needs to truly shine and contend for a championship? Or is it time for a fresh start somewhere else? That's the big question we've all been asking, and it's got fans buzzing, analysts speculating, and social media ablaze with hot takes. From the Fever side of things, this is just as complicated, maybe even more so. Losing Kelsey will be a huge blow, no doubt about it. We're talking about one of the best scorers in the league here, someone who can take over a game when it matters most. But at the same time, her departure would free up a significant chunk of cap space. And with players like Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston already in the fold, the Fever might be thinking about reshaping their roster to build around those two young stars. This isn't just about one player, it's about the future of the franchise and the identity they want to create moving forward. Are they aiming to build a balanced roster that prioritizes youth, or are they willing to bring in veterans who can elevate the team right now? These decisions aren't easy, but they're the kind that can make or break a team's long-term success. Kelsey leaving could also signal a philosophical shift for Indiana. If they decide to move on from her, it means they're betting big on Caitlin Clark as the centerpiece of their backcourt. Clark's talent is undeniable. She's a once-in-a-generation player with the ability to change the game every time she steps on the court. Pairing her with Aliyah Boston in the post creates a young, dynamic duo that could dominate the league for years to come. But building around them might mean tough sacrifices in the short term, and parting ways with Kelsey Mitchell could be the first major domino to fall in that process. Let's not overlook the emotional side of this either. Kelsey has been the face of this franchise for years. She's put in the work, endured the losses, and helped keep the Fever competitive during some tough seasons. For fans, the idea of her leaving feels almost unthinkable. She's not just a player, she's a symbol of hope, consistency, and grit. But sports are a business, and sometimes tough decisions have to be made for the greater good of the team. The Fever's front office knows this, and they're likely weighing every angle before making any final calls. It's a high-stakes situation that could define the next era of Indiana basketball. Let's take a closer look at some of the strategic possibilities here. One name that's been floating around in fan circles is Satou Sabally. And let me tell you, the idea of Sabally joining Indiana is straight up exciting. Satou is a versatile wing who can score, defend, and play multiple positions. Imagine her alongside Caitlin Clark dishing dimes and Aliyah Boston holding it down in the paint. That's a scary lineup, y'all. Sabally brings a level of versatility that could completely change the game for Indiana. She's not just a great player, she's a game changer. Adding her to the mix would make the Fever a team to watch, no question about it. Sabally's potential fitted with Indiana makes so much sense when you consider how the Fever's style of play might evolve. Caitlin Clark's playmaking thrives when she has teammates who can stretch the floor, cut to the basket, and keep defenses guessing. And let's not forget Aliyah Boston's dominance in the post. Sabally's ability to play inside and out could open up the offense in ways we haven't seen before. It's not just about talent, it's about how that talent fits together to create something special. But if we're talking replacements for Kelsey Mitchell, we've got to look at more than just one player. The Fever might also consider going after a guard who can bring a different dynamic to the backcourt, somebody who can complement Caitlin Clark's playmaking and take some of the scoring load off her shoulders. Kelsey Plum's name has been thrown around in some discussions, and honestly, that's an intriguing idea. Plum is a bucket. She's got range, she's a playmaker, and she's a competitor. Imagine her and Clark running the backcourt together. That's a duo that's almost impossible to guard. Of course, there are questions about whether Plum would leave Las Vegas and how she'd fit into the Fever's culture, but it's definitely something worth considering. And let's not sleep on the possibility of Indiana making moves in the draft. With the Fever holding high draft picks, they've got a chance to bring in some serious young talent. There's always that potential to find a hidden gem, a player who might not have the hype right now, but could develop into a star in the right system. The Fever could also look for an under-the-radar free agent, someone who's been overlooked but has the skills and hunger to make a big impact. It's all about finding the right fit, and sometimes the best moves are the ones nobody sees coming. Oh, and speaking of surprises, I've got a player in mind who could really shock people if the Fever decide to make a bold move. Trust me, this isn't a name you're hearing in most conversations right now, but it's one that could change everything. I don't want to spoil it here though. You're gonna have to stay tuned for another video where I break it all down. Believe me, it's worth the wait. Speaking of moves, let's take a second to talk about what this all means for the Fever's fan base. If you've been scrolling through X or Reddit, you've seen how split the fans are on this topic. Some folks are ready for a new era saying, let's build around Caitlin and Aliyah, while others are like, we can't lose Kelsey, she's too important. And honestly, both sides have valid points. Kelsey is a proven scorer and has been a leader for this team. But at the same time, the potential to build something fresh and exciting around Clark and Boston is hard to ignore. It's not just about talent, it's about vision. What kind of team does Indiana want to be in the next 5 years? Now let's spice things up a bit and talk about how the WNBA landscape might shift if Kelsey Mitchell decides to sign elsewhere. Imagine Kelsey landing on a contender, a team like the Las Vegas Aces or even the Seattle Storm. The ripple effects of that move could shake up the league. Not only would Indiana have to adjust, but other teams would start strategizing around a new-look Fever squad without Mitchell. It's not just about what's best for Indiana, it's about how this decision could impact the entire league. And let's not forget the cultural impact of this offseason. The Fever are in a position to completely redefine their identity, which is no small thing for a team that's been searching for its footing in the league for years. With Caitlin Clark already being touted as one of the future faces of the WNBA, the stakes have never been higher. How Indiana handles this offseason could set the tone not just for the next season, but for the next decade. It's about more than just wins and losses. It's about crafting a narrative and building a brand that resonates with fans, players, and the league as a whole. Now the big question is, what kind of identity does Indiana want to create? Are they going all in on youth and potential, trusting players like Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston to lead the way? Or are they looking to mix in veteran leadership to provide stability and experience? Balancing those two priorities is a delicate art. Too much focus on youth and you risk lacking the poise needed in high-pressure moments. Lean too heavily on veterans and you might miss out on fully developing the young stars who represent the future. This is the kind of offseason that can define legacies, not just for the players involved, but for the front office as well. The decisions made now will be talked about for years to come. If Indiana can nail this offseason, they're setting themselves up to become one of the league's premier teams. But if they falter, it could mean more years of mediocrity and missed opportunities. It's not just about making moves, it's about making the right moves. What makes this moment even more intriguing is the backdrop of league-wide changes. The WNBA is evolving rapidly, with new talent entering the league, shifting team dynamics, and an increasingly competitive landscape. Indiana has the chance to position itself as a forward-thinking franchise that's ready to compete at the highest level. They're not just building a team, they're building a culture, and that takes vision, boldness, and a willingness to take risks. And let's not overlook the role of the fans in all this. Fever fans have stuck with this team through thick and thin, and they deserve to see a product on the court that reflects their passion and loyalty. The decisions made this offseason will signal to the fan base what kind of team they can expect in the years to come. Will it be a squad built to dominate with flair and excitement, or one that prioritizes grit and hard-nosed play? Either way, this is a defining moment, not just for the franchise, but for its connection to its supporters. And so, when we talk about cultural impact, we're really talking about something much bigger than basketball. It's about identity, legacy, and the chance to shape the future in a way that inspires everyone involved. The Fever have a golden opportunity here. Let's see if they seize it. So, what's the takeaway here? Kelsey Mitchell leaving the Indiana Fever is far from a done deal, but the possibility is real. And if it happens, it's not just about losing a player, it's about a shift in the team's direction. Whether that means bringing in a star like Satou Sabally, going after someone like Kelsey Plum, or finding a diamond in the rough, the Fever have options. But one thing's for sure, this offseason is going to be pivotal for the future of this franchise. Alright y'all, that's it for today's video. What do you think? Should the Fever do everything they can to keep Kelsey Mitchell, or is it time to move on and build around Caitlin and Aliyah? And if you think she's leaving, where do you see her landing? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. This is Hoops Talk Central, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.